Did you hear about the Nick and Milena drama?
Nope.
Apparently she's accusing him of financial abuse now.
Oh, getting a bit close to home. Let's go. That's a pretty wild topic to bring up. She obviously doesn't want to get into all this. Why not change tacts and talk about something else? Why do you have to talk about this right now to this depth and this length?
And I keep saying my opinion, and it feels like you don't care about my opinion.
No, it's not that I don't care about your opinion. It's that I'm, like, cross-examining the assumptions.
Cross-examining the Bro. Cross-examining the assumptions.
Well, then let's experiment then. You try to stream for a week by yourself, see if you can get the numbers up.
Oh, true! Yes, get his ass.
Okay, 2022. We could go into that.
Yes! Bro! I called it! I told you guys! Let's go!
It wouldn't reflect well on me.
We got it. Gringle sent this through. And I've been meaning to watch it. 80257. Okay, here we go. Let's go!
Like a dozen pieces of shit to do.
Well, damn, that sounds like a lot of shit.
I mean, I didn't really get to finish much today. It was just start. Oh my fucking god.
What?
I keep missing the fucking feeder, and I keep. I give the fuck up. Fuck it, I'm gonna go the other direction. Just out of spite.
Yeah, I think I can tell already what my take is going to be on this. I think I know already. So I think that I was probably wrong to conclude so strongly in regards to the Amouranth situation originally. But the narrative that she is a completely malicious liar who made shit up to smear her husband. And I think I said this the other day even. People overstate what the issue was. And it's probably true that the husband is a shitter. I don't think it's true that she completely made up him being a piece of shit. I think it's probably more likely that, you know, he is a piece of shit. But she presented it in a certain way that was embellished or something like that. You know, because I don't think I agree that the husband stuff was fake. Okay? I don't think that's a fair characterization of it. Because it was completely like unacceptable the way he was talking to her. It's just that, you know, she could have provoked it possibly. And her behavior afterwards, I think, worked against the claim she was trying to make, you know? Because she ended up going back to the same kind of content when she gave the impression or stated it made it seem like the reason she was doing the content she was doing was because of her husband. And then she started doing that content again and people were like, hang on a sec. What the fuck? So I think, yeah, it's not completely fake. It's just an extremely embellished or exaggerated one-sided telling of it. Something like that.
Read the chat, girl.
They're not saying much.
First time streaming or what?
They're not saying that much.
Then make up something that they said.
I'll
be like, okay, chat. Maybe I will go masturbate.
Wait. Okay, bro. Okay. Yeah. Dude. My preconceived notion of what my take is going to be, I think, is correct. Okay? I think it is just the case that he's weird, and he probably did do and say things that made her feel uncomfortable, and she didn't like. And people were way too quick to go to an extreme in painting the narrative about, you know, Amouranth's side of this.
It is your job to entertain them to the level which they decide to speak.
What? Bro. Come on, dude. That's her content, bro. Okay. What Amouranth said is that basically one of the things she didn't like is that her husband made her feel like she needed to do and engage in certain behavior in her content. Okay? Right? And here we have evidence and proof of exactly that. She just wants to sit there. She doesn't want to fucking, you know, be a sex object right now. Okay? And he is putting this pressure on it to do so. Like, this is exactly what she was complaining about when she spoke on this stuff before. And people said that she was just lying and making it up completely. Right? Now, I still think that it's wrong to conclude to an extremity of what is going on with her in the direction I did. I think I was too strong on it. but I think that there was more room to give ground to there being some more truth to what she was saying. Like, this is exactly, this now is exactly the thing that she was complaining about at that time.
Maybe no alcohol for Nick. Nick, be nice.
I was drinking.
Okay, I'm not even saying, like, it's as bad as people are pretending. What I'm pointing out is that the narrative about Amouranth is that she had whole cloth made up and bullshitted and lied about this. And even the other day, I was saying that I didn't think that was a fair characterization, even as I was taking the L for believing her too much, right? But now I'm watching this and I'm like, well, this just backs it up further, that it's not the case that she just made shit up. She had some, I believe she had some grounds for issue, but she presented it badly and obviously painted it completely one-sided on her side of it. And she, you know, we don't know the full story. At that time, we didn't know the full story. But people backlashed to the point where they were saying it was all fake and made up, and that was too extreme as well. It is a classic. The truth is somewhere in the middle type thing, where she has got valid grievances. He has probably got some valid grievances too. Don't get me wrong. But this now, those kind of comments line up with the previous comments that she'd made about this, right? And that's all I'm saying.
Drinking non-alcoholic red wine. It's basically Hawaiian Punch.
Why is he such a bossy asshole all the time?
The fuck?
You want me to read chat?
I ain't a bossy fucking.
Oh, dude! Oh my god, bro! Literally reading chat messages that back her up because she wants some backup on this. She's picked out of all of these comments the one comment that is being critical of him because she wants that backup. Bro, she's like a battered wife. This is fucking insane, dude. What the fuck, dude?
Asshole.
Oh my gosh, how this dude ever got...
Wait. I don't think she's a rat for that. He is just publicly, like, well, what's the right word for it? He's just made her, like, feel small. He's just said something that's probably going to make her feel a bit shitty. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, of course she's going to fucking hit back. But yeah, she's intentionally picking this for a reason. But yeah, like belittling her or something. Yeah, I don't even think it's that crazy. You know, he's like, there's a toxicity that you're picking up from this if you could read between the lines, right? This is not just like a normal relationship, them having fun. You know? Clearly there's like some shit happening here. You know what I mean?
Millionaire.
Bruh, did you like fucking hit your head?
Oh my gosh, how this dude ever got to be millionaire?
Bruh, did you like fucking hit your head?
You know what would be fun? Line dancing. Okay, maybe even less alcoholic wine. Sheesh. Wants to marry a rich woman, lol. Teach us the wisdom, Lady Amouranth. Ha 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 ha. Sing a drunk song. Pushy, pushy, pushy.
This is so awkward, bro. This is so awkward, dude. She's like not wanting to do this, and he said to do it. She's doing it in like the kind of like, she's like complying, but not really. She's like doing it in the most like, oh haha, reading the chat out message very plainly. Dude, that is insane, dude. This is so awkward.
Song.
Okay, that's
pushy,
wonderful.
pushy, pushy.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
I'm trying to push her to be entertaining.
Well, you know...
Look, clearly what you've been doing is not working. Is there any disagreement on that?
What?
Hey, you wanted to let chat pick the activity.
No, I have no issue with that. I don't know why you're trying to make it a thing like that. When did I say that was an issue? I'm saying the whole pushing you to make it interesting right now.
wanted me to read the chat. They
Right,
weren't saying anything.
but like, if they're not saying anything, then you gotta fucking come up with something to spur the conversation, right? Like, you're treating it like your chat is supposed to be entertaining you, and that's the opposite of what needs to be happening. You need to entertain your chat, so if they're not saying anything, then you have to say something that induces a response out of them. Right?
Alright,
Bro, she's been streaming for 8 fucking hours, okay? I don't think it's that insane. Like, he's got this vision of pushing her to be this constant IRL streamer, constantly trying to say and do shit, right? I don't think it's that crazy that she just wants to fucking chill for a sec. And even if he's got these kinds of problems, he should not be bringing it up on a stream. He should be speaking about it to her off stream. If he's got that sort of role in their relationship or their professional relationship, right? Berating her on stream like this is just like totally deranged and unnecessary, you know? Very patronizing, exactly. And say what you want about Amouranth, she is an incredibly successful streamer and content creator. And who the fuck is this guy?
Okay, that's wonderful.
What the fuck does he know?
But how do I make
Do you know what I
money
mean?
off depressed people?
One thing my mom taught me was that as a couple you don't belittle or push down your partner in front of people. Grievances are handled in private.
Thank you for the super chats.
what game y'all want to play at the arcade?
Are we going to the arcade?
That's where I'm at. You told me that's what you wanted.
Well, I didn't know where you actually mapped me to, but we're clearly not heading there.
Well, that's where the map is going.
Sure, but it's wrong.
Okay.
No. This is berating. Try again, Bessem. Try again. Maybe you can write the word whore out. Give it another go, okay? You're so close. Bro, you people are so boring. I'm so bored of you fucking freaks. It's honestly just very dull at this point. The same takes. Oh, she's an e-whore. You cannot think out of your own view of the world. It is literally impossible. You're a fucking total NPC, okay? You're a total NPC. You think you're a free thinker, but you're not. All you've got is the trash that's been pre-programmed into your head by the last fucking Red Pill guy that you watched, okay? She is a successful streamer, okay? She is 100% without question a successful streamer.
Well, I mean, I don't know. What do you want?
Whatever. Either food or fucking home, whichever.
Okay, well then we can go home. We already have food at home.
Yeah, don't be changing the subject and trying to fucking throw me under the bus, man.
I'm not doing anything.
I mean, you're like, oh, you told Chad to pick activity. It's like, I
And
never
you said
said
what?
that there was anything wrong with the activity. I said, you gotta keep it entertaining. Like, it shouldn't actually matter what the activity is.
Okay.
Right? Like that's the kind of like the whole point of being an entertainer is that you can make anything interesting. Sure, some things are more or less interesting, but if you're just riding on the coattails of whatever the activity is, that's unsustainable. The skill has always been to pull.
I can use ChatGPT to answer that.
If you need,
you can enable ChatGPT
if
on
you
your
need-
iPhone when you're not driving.
If you need Chat's commentary to be interesting, then you have to pull the right commentary out. Like, that's the whole job.
Okay.
Like, yeah, anyone can be entertaining if Chat's saying entertaining things for them to play off.
No, but okay, this guy's clueless, man. That's just not true. I have seen plenty of streamers look at their chat like a dead-eyed fish with no fucking clue how to bounce off of it, right? Chat could be very funny and entertaining, but the streamer's got to, you know, do something to make that entertaining as well. It's not enough that there's just chat messages scrolling by, or you're dead-eyed like a fish looking at them, right? You've got to present and talk about and point things out in a certain way that bring entertainment to the stream. Like, it's so crazy to me that this guy is sat there trying to lecture Amouranth on what being a successful streamer looks like. What the fuck do you know, dude? You don't know anything about this. Where's your fucking stream, bro?
Alright, well, we're going home now, so we can eat food. He can yap to his heart's content. And maybe we'll make some Legos.
that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
She needs to drop this know-it-all. Also, almost got gold.
Yes, Guy, thank you for the
Did
$10.
you hear about the Nika and Milena drama?
Nope.
Apparently, she's accusing him of financial abuse now.
Oh, getting a bit close to home. Let's go.
She's suing for a divide of assets and or, the whole financial abuse element.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
That's a pretty wild topic to bring up. Based on what... He's really going there? That seems like a very hot topic to get into right now.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, if they were married, doesn't she get half anyway?
I don't know the specifics on, like, are they common law married? Are they, like, actually married? Did they get married here? Did they get married there? Is there a prenup? Is it reflect the value of the channel on an ongoing basis? Right? Because she wants half or more, slightly more, to reflect the fact that he gets to keep the channel.
Sure.
Right?
Makes sense.
But obviously he's fighting that.
Yeah, dude, she's like catatonic here. I don't watch her content most of the time, to be honest, but is she always like this? I don't really want to skip back now. Is this what she's always like? Just like catatonic, in a catatonic state.
And so the speculation, and maybe there is financial abuse, but the speculation is that, you got to play a little hardball
SSRI Max
to get the settlement you want. What do you think about all that?
I think she should get at least half because he's gonna keep streaming if she's not, and the amount of years that she's been with them. She's been doing a lot of the content planning, getting the groups together. Well, that stuff, like, she's contributed a lot, and he's taken her fertility, basically. Waiting around
I
so
don't
long.
think that's valid.
Well, it depends. I don't know if she wanted a family or not, right?
But, like, if you choose to stay with someone who doesn't want a family when you want a family, that's on you.
Curry has the smallest average penis size. This makes you think it would be icy on. This guy gives him Alex energy.
Thank you for the super chats. Appreciate it. Damn, Queen seems to know a lot about Amouranth's content. I wonder what he's been getting up to in his spare time.
You, man. How could that be on anyone else?
It depends. I don't know if that's a factor at all, right? I'm just saying.
No, it doesn't matter. Like, how could that possibly be on anyone else?
Because if someone was saying that they do want a family and then they don't, suddenly, like they're...
So, like, literally, that's...
Amouranth is a Twitch thought. Wow. That is literally the first time I've heard that. Please tell me more about this. Please tell me more about what a wretched whore and thought Amouranth is. I've never heard that before.
They're right?
Sure, it is their right.
So then why is that their fault?
It's not that they're full. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like
Well, you're asking them to have recompense for that factor. And so it'd have to be their fault for it to be recompensable.
She never wanted kids, he does? Oh, okay, well, this is the opposite then.
Right. But, like, either way, like, that's not a very valid reason. Because that's someone's... Like, that's like saying, oh, I took this girl home because she wanted to fuck. And then she decided she didn't want to, but fuck her, I'm going to fuck her anyways. Like, clearly that's not okay, right?
Sure.
And so it's like, if someone changes their mind, so be it. They change their mind. That's how human... that's how, that works. You don't get to fucking ding them for anything.
Sure.
So, like, that shouldn't be a factor at all. Like, her fertility, that's on her.
Sure.
Right?
Regardless, the rest of what I said is still true. She should get at least half. If she contributed to the channel.
On what basis?
What do you mean on what basis? I literally...
Okay. On the basis that she worked on and built up the channel. On the basis that she was 50% of the content. If you're 50% of the content and you break up, I feel like it's fair that you're recompensed for that. And the fact that you're no longer going to be involved in the channel, there should be a little bit on top as well. That seems pretty fucking reasonable from a marriage situation. No? It's like if you're in business partnership with someone and the business came to a close or you were asked to leave, like, not unless you've done something tremendously wrong, you would be expected to be recompensed for that loss of benefit or whatever, right? So, yeah, I think it's totally reasonable that... I mean, I don't know enough about the content myself directly, but from what I've heard from people talking about it, is that Milena was massively responsible for the success of the channel. You know? And it's like, yeah. It's totally reasonable that she wants a fucking big slice of the pie. Would the question is, would the channel be where it is today without her input? I don't believe so based on what I've heard. So on that basis, I think she is entitled to at least 50%, you know, of something, some value somewhere, if not a bit more, you know?
Already said. She contributed to the channel, she helped organize events, she, like, did a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff.
I mean, like, where do you draw the line on, like, this is half?
I don't know. I don't know what their assets look like, right?
Well, I'm not saying...
I think you would look at the assets as they are when they split up, and then that's what you calculate it on, because... And then you would maybe give a bit on top for the counting for the fact that they're not going to be involved in the channel anymore. Something like that. I don't know. But there's a way that you can figure it out. And it's like, where do you draw the line? Well, somewhere. And it's unlikely that the line is going to be drawn exactly precisely so that it's fair for both sides without question. There's going to be debate and argument over where it should be drawn and what the percentages should be or whatever. You know. But there is a line somewhere. And there should be, you know, some accounting for some of these facts. Like, if she was just like a random person that, you know, was behind the scenes and wasn't really helping, then it's different. I don't think she would be as entitled as she is, having worked on the channel and been a major part of it, you know?
Like, you gotta guesstimate what half is. I'm saying, at what point does the line get drawn that someone deserves half? Like
if they both contributed to the business.
Sure, but certainly there needs to be a counting of, like, on what proportion, no?
Sure, but I don't know what that looks like, so I can't weigh in on that.
So the question is this, right? Like, his channel has been around since before them, right?
Okay.
I think. I'm not exactly sure, but, like, so if he had his own channel, does that mean that just because she starts streaming with him, you know, that she deserves half?
I don't know, because I thought they've been streaming together, like, the whole entire time. I don't know.
Even so, like, is it really half because of her contribution, or is it half because Soda Poppin hosts them and is friends?
So what, Soda Poppin gets a cut, does he? I mean, I don't know much about their channel, but from everything I've seen, I feel like he's just completely uneducated on this. And Milena is a big reason that channel has been so successful. And even fans of Nick have said as much. If you go and look at his chat and stuff, you know, there's people that want her to get a good chunk because they also think that she was a big part of the channel. And I think that if you go and look at their content, much of it is them as a couple together. Like, Nick's content, I'm fairly certain, is couple type stuff. Even fucking Henry Resilient. Even Henry Resilient, Mr. Bury your gold in the backyard so your wife doesn't find out about it in the divorce. Even he said that she's entitled to a decent split of it too. So, I don't know what this guy's fucking on about, claiming that what Soda Poppin is entitled because he raided them. What? No. Or the Soda Popping is primarily responsible. Raids help, but at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, as much as raids help, they are staying around for a reason. And if the reason is at least a big portion because of Milena, that has to be taken into account.
Friends with them.
What does Soda Poppin have to do with any of it?
Nick Pollum used to work for Soda Poppin until, I'm assuming, Soda Poppin gave him his blessing to pursue a streaming career instead of working for him.
I don't understand what that has to do with him and Milena. Like Nick and Milena.
Because if his audience is attributed to his friend giving him a leg up in the industry, does the girl deserve half?
If she was able to keep the content going on a daily basis, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Like, I don't know for how long, right? I'm not.
You get a raid of 1,000 people, okay? the percentage of people that are going to stay is going to be dependent on your ability to do compelling content that keeps them there, right? There's people out there that have been raided by massive streamers that have gone nowhere, and they've ended up having to stop streaming and because it's not working, okay? And that's because those people don't know how to retain an audience. Other people do. And so if they're retaining an audience from these big raids, there's a skill or a talent there that has to be taken into account. And if Milena and Nick are on the stream, both part of the content, I don't think it's going to be that far off 50% based on everything I've heard about the kind of content they do. They are baiting this as a script. Okay. Baiting what exactly?
I'm not an expert on the lore, so this is kind of a...
I mean, the idea is
if
this,
you're going
right?
to ask me all those things, I don't know.
Well, the idea is this, right? Like, well, you don't have to know the lore. All you have to do is be able to state, like, if this, then that. If this, then that, right? So it's like, if she actually...
Yes, you do. Of course you do. You have to understand the lore, because then you would understand the significant role that she's played in the channel, and then you understand why it's so reasonable to ask for that. But he's not. He's not winning anything. Well, not to me. I don't know, bro. It just sounds kind of retarded, like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Actually pulled, like, the reason half the viewers are there is because of her, then she deserves half, right? That's one way of saying it. So if she didn't, you know, pull half the chat, then she doesn't deserve half, right? Like you can still make statements of like what is...
Yeah, but that's worthless, isn't it? Oh, well, if she did, she gets 50%. If she didn't, she doesn't. Yeah, obviously, great. But what about the situation we're talking about? Well, then you do need knowledge about it so that you can have an educated take on it. Dude, this is exactly what was happening when I was covering this. I didn't know, so I had to rely on what people were saying in chat and looking at like the general like commentary on it, and it seemed that the people that do watch the content seemed to believe that she was entitled to it because she was a big part of it. So there we go. You've got like a rough idea then, haven't you? You know? Like, he just has got no clue. It's so funny that he's trying to like berate Amouranth for not being entertaining enough, and he's trying to talk about drama, demonstrating he is totally clueless at how to do it well, and at best he's going to be able to contribute just basic points which don't really get to the root or the bottom of what you're talking about, you know?
Is fair and not fair, you know, without having to know the specifics of a situation, right? The specifics only muddle it. Theoretically, you should be able to figure out what it would be given each circumstance.
Sure. Then I guess, I don't know, if we're saying if this and that, then if she's contributed daily to helping, you know, organize stream events, and I don't know, there's a, what do they do for
so what
YouTube,
you're saying
editing,
is that
whatever.
It's based on effort.
Yes.
Not output.
Well, I mean, that's both. How do you have effort without outputting anything? I don't understand.
Well, someone can put half the time in, but be, you know, kind of responsible for less than half the output, right?
Wait, what?
Okay, let's say you and I are both, you know, working a construction site, trying to, you know, lay a foundation, right? I'm using an excavator. I work 10 hours a day. You're using a shovel. You're working 10 hours a day. One of us is responsible for the majority of the output, but both of us...
Yeah, but then that's on the construction company for not giving the second person the tools to work more efficiently. And if the you know, construction company is not giving you the tools to do your job, well, that's on them, and you can only be as productive as the tools that you're being given. Like, that's on the company then, isn't it? Right, we're going to put him in an excavator and we're going to put you with a shovel, okay? Obviously, you're setting it up that there's going to be a different output.
So working the same input. So the question is...
And also, you don't need to... This is the thing that these people do. They go to these insane hypotheticals when you don't even need to. These absurd, ridiculous hypotheticals. You can just talk about the circumstances as they exist. You don't need to go to the hypothetical. You can just say, right, let's talk about the channel. Obviously, they're in a car, so they can't do it exactly. Let's look at the channel. What's the thumbnails look like? Let's get a flavour of the content. What kind of content was going on? Does the content lean on the couple dynamic? Is there, like, you know, content that seems to be focused on Milena? What, you know, you do like a bit of an analysis of it and look at the channel that way. you know? Or you could just get an idea from the people that do watch, get like a flavor of the viewer's view on it, something like that. You don't need to go to a fucking fake construction yard and someone's got a shovel and someone's got an excavator. That actually muddies it, and that makes it more difficult and complicated to get to the bottom and the truth of it, you know? So it's just like, yeah, just pointless debate shit.
Team, so don't you get more done as a team?
Well, yeah, no, there's no question that you're digging with the shovel also helps, but just not at the same proportion as me using the excavator. You're trying to, you know, perpetuate the I guess fallacy that, like, if someone puts in 12 hours, they deserve half if 12 hours is half the work, right? It doesn't matter what their 12 hours actually produced. It's just the fact that they put in 12 hours.
Well, I don't know enough about their situation. So.
Once again, we're not needing this.
He's also viewing this from the position of, like, you're selling your labor to a company, right? He did say fallacy. Right? And then the company has then got a responsibility to give you the best tools to do the best job. And if they don't, and they've agreed to pay you a rate for the work that you do at an hourly rate, well, that's on them, and they're retarded for doing that. We're talking about people that are, like, self-employed, and we're talking about a very different type of business and, you know, productive economic activity, which is entertaining, broadcasting, streaming, you know? But you don't need to do any of this. This is just muddying it further. You don't need to take it to some hypothetical. You just talk about the channel as it exists, and if you want to talk about output, right?
Okay, that's wonderful.
That's when you need to look at the,
make money, you know, off depressed people,
analytics and whatnot, right? Which you obviously can't do right now. But it'd be fun to see how Shelby and Pokey split assets. Thank you for the super chats. Melina was the key part of the branding and background organising and ideas for streams. Well, yeah, exactly. If that's true, then she is entitled to a big chunk of that. Absolutely.
To their situation. We just need, like, so you can say, well, if this is the situation, then this. If that's the situation, then that.
I don't know how to measure effort versus output now. You made it complicated, so I don't know.
No, it's pretty simple, right? Like if I had to guess, you know, it would be that literally being Soda Poppin's roommate, streaming in his house, you know, that's a huge contributor.
Okay, so he's saying, let's talk about effort versus output. And now he's talking about being Soda Poppin's roommate. What does that have to do with the effort versus the output? You're making it sound like Soda Poppin deserves to be cutting for this.
How do I make money off depressed people?
The irony here is hilarious. He definitely thinks he's more like Nick in his own marriage, but it's Amouranth doing all the work. He's projecting.
Thank you for the tip. Let's go, Base. We love to see some tipping. Thank you.
Right? That's, like, technically out of both of their hands, but, like, you know, I'm assuming that it's his friend that he was working for, and then Melania came along. But, like, what? I don't know. Like if I had to think about it, I don't think half the viewers are there to watch her.
I mean, I don't know.
Based on what? Based on what exactly? What is that even based on? How could you possibly just know that? I had no clue, so I had to have a look and find out. See what people that watch the content were saying about it, and so on. How can you just say that?
Every time I've looked in, it was like they were planning like a thing together. They were streaming together. Like, I don't know. I don't watch Nick alone, so I don't know.
I mean, if Mizkif and Maya were married, does she deserve half?
I don't know, because it depends on what she does. I just know that Melania used to, like, organize events and stuff. Like, I used to do a lot of behind the scenes.
Yeah, but that's OTK. That's nothing to do with his stream.
What?
She organized events for OTK.
She did that before OTK existed. So that's not true, but...
Okay, I don't know. What does she organize for him?
She used to, like, help...
Okay. But then, if she is organizing stuff, right? And then she gets to the point where he gets to the point he's joining OTK, could that potentially be because of the work that she has done to get him into a position where he's in that place to join an org like that? You know, it's very difficult to like, like, it seems to me, based on everything I've heard about this, that she was a tremendous help in the channel from day one and has put a lot of effort into it that has helped to be successful and has helped Nick be very successful.
Helped plan all like the camp stuff, whatever, and I remember what his name was. I don't know, I'm not
that camp stuff was OTK.
No, it was like that kind of stuff happened before.
It was literally
OTK.
called OTK Game Day.
No, that's not the camp stuff. It was before that.
Shit camp.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Sure, but why is that for him? That's for everyone in Austin.
Sure, but if they're the ones organizing it, it helps them a lot. You know, things like that. Not just that, but they also like did breakfast or whatever, streams together, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. Stop asking me questions when I don't know. I don't know.
The whole point is to try and figure out what would make sense. You know, you don't have to know.
She obviously doesn't want to fucking get into all this, right? Why not change fucking tacts and talk about something else? Why do you have to talk about this right now to this depth and this length?
Every detail to make, you know, a statement of like, you know, intent or value, right?
Sure.
Like,
I don't know enough to care.
The more interesting part is not the specifics. It's, you know, the system in which you think you should be able to arrive at the conclusion.
The more interesting part is not the specifics after he's just spent the last 10 minutes arguing the specifics of it. I mean, he's all over the place as well. Oh my god, dude. God, this is like just... What, dude, when you don't want to get into something like this, particularly on a stream as well, it makes it worse. And then they're just badgering you to talk about this thing. Fuck me, dude. How long does this go on for,
We'd have to wait for her to present all the things that she's contributed to and weigh them against the output, I guess, or the results, rather. I don't know. Like, I don't really care enough to get this deep into this discussion. What else we hear about? What other drama?
That's really it. There's a bunch of Destiny Hassan stuff, but...
Oh, no!
You know.
No, please, don't get into that.
That's like the never-ending war.
Yes!
Yeah, this is... Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, it's literally just...
He's right about that.
You know, two guys who used to be friends and are from the same side of the aisle, politically speaking, not getting along.
Endless loop.
There's essentially
endless loop.
A conflict.
You can't escape it.
And influence.
Okay, looks like they're moving on from that. Thank God.
But yeah, in my opinion, though...
It's not a lake, it's an ocean.
You have to just make a consideration of, like, does she deserve half just because they're married? Right?
I mean, not necessarily, but you'd have to see, you know. I don't know, she probably presents all the things she contributed with, so I don't know.
I feel like you're just wanting to take the girl's side here.
No, I'm sorry, I don't know. You'd have to see.
You've said that a lot of times. I'm not asking if you know. I'm asking for you to state for or against, you know, does she deserve half, does she not deserve half, given...
I'm asking you to state for or against, does she deserve half? Like, where's this guy's ability to assess, you know, another person's willingness to engage in a conversation? We've all had it before, where we're talking to someone, and it's obvious they're not that into it and they're not interested. And so you just move on and you talk about something else or whatever, right? But he keeps going back and she's clearly not that bothered about talking about it. And I think you've talked about it enough to get a rough understanding of where she is with it. She thinks that she deserves half because she put a lot of effort into the channel. That's it. End of conversation. End of conversation. What else is there to say, dude?
I wouldn't know if she deserves half because I don't know exactly what all she contributed to.
I'm not actually asking you to weigh in on the actual situation. I'm saying tell me in what situations she would deserve half and in what she wouldn't.
If she's contributed almost nearly daily to the ongoings of stream, either on camera or behind it. Running social media, anything like that.
So just as long as it's daily effort, doesn't matter what that effort yields, you're saying?
I don't know how to measure that, and I don't care to get into that.
Well, we're not debating whether we measure it one way or the other. I'm just asking you, does it matter?
Yes, I'm going to say yes for the sake of it. You want an answer? Yes, it matters.
Okay. So then you would say that it's more so, any measurable quantity of impact, not measurable quantity of input. Because there's a big difference, right? Like what someone puts in.
The problem is you're talking about like input versus output and impact or whatever. You've not clarified how you're assessing that, right? You can assess it with some things in terms of like, okay, you work at a factory, you're putting a certain level of input in, what output are you getting? How many products are you producing on the production line based on the input that you're doing? And then if you're inputting effort that puts out 50 products and the next person along is putting out input that at least are 100 products, well, then you can say, well, it seems like your input is lesser than other people, right? It's a very clear dynamic that you can point to there. But it's very different with content creation. And you need to do a lot more in-depth analysis of the channel in order to understand this. And he's not, like, even explained the first steps of that, right? Like, what are the most popular videos? What are the top performing videos? What are the top earning videos? At what points are you getting the most donations in your stream? And so on and so on and so on. And I don't know for sure, based on everything I've heard, I would wager that would look positive with Melina's involvement. But he's not even got to that point of explaining what output he'd be looking for. It's just output. What does that even mean for a fucking channel? Explain what you're looking for and what you're trying to differentiate there.
In terms of hours, in terms of perceived effort, that's one
crazy,
thing, right?
This is insane.
What they actually yield is another thing. Now, to decide whether you can measure that or not, or how you'd measure that, is a different question. But it's a very important thing to figure out, like, are you measuring effort put in, or are you measuring results coming out?
But if you want to talk about whether they deserve half, you need to understand that, bro. You need to measure that to understand it. What are you on about, dude? This guy's fucking retarded, bro. How can you assess who deserves what if you've not even been able to establish what the criteria is to assess the dynamic that you want to establish whether or not they deserve half? He's like going at it backwards. And he doesn't want to talk about it.
I don't know, because it's hard to weigh. If you take her out, are the results the same or not? You can't really say, so I don't know. That's tricky.
So you're saying that in any case where someone contributes, they just deserve half in case?
No.
This is a husband.
Because anyone contributing doesn't necessarily mean that they've contributed for years on the career and done stuff for the other person that they can't do because they're streaming.
Sure.
So I don't know how to answer you.
You really don't like challenging.
No, I don't. I'm not that type of personality. I don't like philosophical debates on like people's unique situations. Life concepts in general, sure, but I don't.
This is a life concept.
It's too much nuance into like these specific situations.
It's only because you refuse to see it for the discussion that it is, and you're trying to go into the specifics and saying you don't know the specifics. Right.
That's because we're talking about two specific people.
Bro, it just feels like he's trying to argue for the sake of arguing at this point, man. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Let's go. Thank you.
And what they've done with their career and their divorce it's a specific situation.
Yeah, and we're using it as a case example for outlining, well, what would you say broadly is,
if you're using it as a case example, you need to talk about the specifics of the situation. That's the point of using something as a case example, right? Otherwise, you just talk about the broad things that, the broad themes and the broad concepts. But you need to get into the specifics to, dude, this guy. It's the classic thing where he thinks he's smarter than he is. And he can't actually debate and argue and talk. And he thinks he's able to do so. But he's like all over the place and not making any coherent sense of what he's trying to lay out and what he's trying to explain.
Determine that. It could be anyone. It doesn't have to be.
I don't know. It's too much to think about right now.
I don't want to real frustrated for something that's just a discussion.
Because I don't care enough. And I keep saying my opinion and it feels like you don't care about my opinion.
No, it's not that I don't care about your opinion. It's that I'm, like, cross-examining the assumptions.
Cross-examining the bro. Cross-examining the assumptions. Holy fuck, dude. That is... Oh! Just sitting in the car, cross-examining her assumptions with my wife on stream. What are you doing, bro? Jesus. Bro, people are actually siding with Amouranth as well. Argument Lamau, divorce incoming. You literally don't have to push this point, Nick. Nick, you're yapping. She doesn't want to argue. Well, I think the thing is she's given her opinion, and it's like he doesn't want her opinion. He wants an absolute endless breakdown analysis of the dynamics and the kind of concepts involved. She's not that interested in it. She said, well, yeah, if she's done a lot of work, and she seems to have done, she deserves half, and that's enough for her. And he just wants more depth that she's just interested in giving. And that's fine. Why? She's been fucking streaming for hours, bro. I'd be the same if someone was trying to argue with a toss about fucking, you know, well, I think if this is the case, she should get this. Yeah, but what about this? What about that? Let's talk more about the concepts. Like, fuck off, dude. Go away.
Okay, well, I don't want to be cross-examined.
I can use ChatGPT to...
Alright, this isn't fun for me anymore, so, you know.
Right.
Like, you can either make content that's interesting, or you can just sit there in silence, but I'd prefer to try and make content that's interesting. Keyword being try, right?
Sure, but that's not an interesting concept.
It's better than what you were doing, which was nothing.
Okay, well, chat disagrees.
Of course they do, because they're sucking up to you.
Oh, awkward.
Look, whether chat says A or B, it doesn't matter in this context because your viewership is in active decline.
I mean, it looks like the same as it's been.
Bro, that is that is a crazy thing to say to your wife in the middle of a stream. This is like deranged. This is belittling. This is like belittling, berating behavior.
That's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
POV, you are married to Aiden.
Thank you for the super chats.
Well, right now...
You fell off, or...
I mean, if you miss the fact that we just did a bajillion collabs, you know, and also like a special stream that is outside the norm of what we did, sure, right? But I'm just saying that, like, call it a year ago to now.
By the way, this is exactly the shit that she was complaining about when she made the allegations about him at the time. This was exactly the shit that she was talking about. She was saying exactly this. She said, he acts like this being how he's acting now. So, I don't know, dude. It feels to me like she did have a point to make, even if it was embellished and overstated. There was a point to be made there.
2 years ago to now. Any length of time ago to now. Is it not down? What that means is that you've retained the people who are watching no matter what. And you've lost the people who, you know, care about, you know, the quality, the volume, the density, the interestingness of the content. It's adverse selection. You could do anything, however boring, however long, and you will have some number of viewers. But the whole point is that that number will be smaller. Right? Like if your whole point is that like one viewer is still a viewer, well then sure, you know, you win. Right? But if the whole point is you know, trying to seek what is you know, a sustainable community and to build an audience, you know, that will have its own culture, will have its own opinion, will be willing to challenge the streamer, will be willing to challenge the content. Well, no, I mean, that's a failing grade for us.
Well, then let's experiment then. You try to stream for a week by yourself, see if you can get the numbers up.
Oh, true! Yes, get his ass. Bro, that is so true, man. Dude, bro, oh my God, this is bringing memories back, dude. I remember a time, there's old videos on the channel still of this, But you had these absolute shitters who knew nothing about making content, right? They knew nothing about streaming. They knew nothing about it. And they came along and they were around for 5 minutes and they tried to lecture other people on what they should be doing with their channel, right? And I referred to it as like the failed streamer industrial complex or something like that at the time. And there's these people that rabbit on about how much they know and how the bigger streamers should do it and whatnot. And it's like, they can't even fucking do it themselves. You know? So, why don't you try? Why don't you try it for yourself and see what happens? You're literally just talking about Kamazots every time. I wasn't actually thinking of Kamazots then, but that is one of the people. I was more thinking of that guy that argued with Dylan. Who was it? That guy that got really drunk. Beer Bash Johnson. That's who I'm thinking of. Beer Bash Johnson. The guy that was trying to lecture Dylan on how to run a panel. And he was like some 5-viewer slob drinking booze. You know, and it's just like... Listen, I'll take your advice into consideration. Why don't you try and get above 10 viewers, though? Why don't you give that a go? And then maybe you can come back to me and we'll talk again. Like, I'm sorry, if you're not able to... It's like those who can't teach. It's that sort of mentality, right? It's like, if you can't do it yourself, okay, that's fine. Maybe you do have something valuable to say, but then the things that are being said from someone with experience are antithetical to the things that are working. You were saying do the opposite of the things that are working, so why the fuck would you listen to that, right? Especially when you're not doing it. If you're doing something different and it's working for you, and you say, hey, I'm doing something different and it's working, fine. But if you're saying do something different and you're failing, and what you're advising is the opposite of what is successful, then why the fuck would you listen to that? And in this, the reality is that Amouranth is not there to be challenged about her ideas by viewers. That's not what it's for. This is not going to be. This is not supposed to be a debate stream, and it's very clear that the viewers are not interested in this conversation. You know. Now, is it true that Amouranth could be doing more to be entertaining? Sure. But it looks like she's had a pretty, you know, long stream as it is. So I don't really blame her for not wanting to fucking have a big, lengthy debate in a car 8 hours into a stream. You know?
You don't play that game?
I'm not playing games.
No, that's fine. I can do that. And so during that week, do I manage any of the things that are part of your empire or no? You see, like you're asking me to be like, sure, go stream, but also like do all the other things that I need you to do.
I'm saying you don't have to stream all day, but like
no shit, but that would be don't you understand that it is an advantage? It's not like you're doing stuff for me and I'm streaming. You want me to keep doing stuff for you while I try to show you that I can stream, right? It's kind of ridiculous. Like, literally, you're taking half or more of my effort and applying it to your stuff, but you're saying, oh, but you can try it.
No, I'm saying lead by example. Like, the time we're spending right now, where you're not
am I not
managing
leading by
other
example?
stuff.
How am I not leading by example? Please explain. Right. I'm literally leading the discussion, but you refuse to partake.
No, because you're saying that, like, I'm not entertaining.
No, I'm saying that, like well, no, it's okay to not be entertaining, but you have to at least be able to take a cue from someone who is trying to drive it being entertaining.
Well, the thing is, it was okay at the start, but then you endlessly started to loop on the same point, even after she'd said what she had to say about it, and it wasn't enough for you. So the right thing to do would be to take it into a different direction and talk about something else, right? And after arguing for so much about that topic, what you'd probably want to do is take it in a lighter direction and find a topic to talk about that you can maybe have a conversation about that isn't so fucking, you know, dour, and you're arguing about it. You can have a bit of a laugh about it and flesh it out. Something like that, you know? I don't know. What's on Reddit at the moment? What's on LSF? I don't know off the top of my head. But, you know, if that's what you want to do, have some fucking things on how to get into. You know? What fucking ego shit is happening at the moment? When did this occur? 3 days ago. Like, I don't know if it had happened at that point. But one example is, talk about the view botting. Talk about the woman that got caught view botting and how funny that was, you know? Some of the drama stuff that's happened isn't really the Twitch world, but there probably is Twitch drama that you could talk about. She recently got into it in regards to the Asmongold stuff. Is there some Asmongold stuff you can talk about? You know? I don't know.
Sure, but it needs to be a topic that I can actually, like,
well, you know, before I suggested a topic, you had every chance to suggest any topic, and you complained instead that chat wasn't saying anything.
Because you told me to read the chat to you. I'm just doing, I thought that's what you wanted. I'm sorry.
Well, if there's nothing to read, then you got to come up with something to say, right? Like, I feel like this is a very linear thing. Okay? Like, it's super linear, right? Like, obviously, if they're saying something, then we will engage and try to, you know, interact. But if not saying anything, then you need to drive that interaction. That's literally the job of the person doing the content creation, right?
Okay. But
imagine if you're like, I always ask my, you know, YouTube chat or comment section, you know, or my, you know, live streaming chat what my next video topic is, but they haven't suggested one, so I'm just not going to make any videos. It's like, no, you make a video, and then maybe, you know, if you make enough good videos, you'll get people who are passionate about the content enough that they will give you...
You keep missing the turns, by the way.
That will give you content. Do you understand that?
Not really.
Which part?
Can you try explaining just a different way in general?
You know Amouranth is slipping out every weekend for some time with James Black. Probably. Probably. Plastic cock.
Do you even know what I said? Because I don't think you do. I think you're just not listening, and then you're trying to ask me to repeat myself. Give me a paraphrase of what I said then.
Oh my god, dude.
To be honest.
So you just won't listen?
No, I just can't follow what you're saying. So if I don't
what do you think I'm saying? You can't follow it. So
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you to say it a different way.
Give me one tiny piece of it. Anything.
I know you're frustrated because I told you that chat's not saying anything rather than saying something to chat to make them say something back to read to you.
That's absolutely not what frustrated me.
Okay,
what frustrates me is that, you know, I'm trying to guide you to understanding that, like, there's not one right way to do this, okay? There's not one right way, but there are absolutely wrong ways, okay? If your goal is to build a community, is to, you know, drive entertaining content, is to, you know, learn how to make and do things that you want to do, but also entertain chat, then there are absolutely wrong ways to go about it, right? Like, there's no...
It feels like he's trying to push for this to be, like, a Fousey style IRL stream. And that just isn't the kind of content that Amouranth does. You're not going to get the same kind of, like, IRL attention and audience that these male streamers doing crazy shit does. And it's just not her content. You know? It's just so unreasonable to expect Amouranth to behave in a way that isn't her content. And yet, obviously, she shouldn't generally just be sat there not saying anything. You need to, you know, engage chat in some fashion, right? But the problem is, you're sat driving in a dark car. You can't see outside. That might be something to generate some conversation, you know? Or something happening, bad driving. You see someone driving bad on the road. That could be something you talk about. So, you got to talk about shit. But then, obviously, Amouranth just doesn't really want to. I don't know, dude. It just seems so ridiculous to have this pressure to fucking be entertaining at every second of a fucking 14-hour stream. You know? I mean, it looks like she's doing more content with the hubby. Saturday snuggles with the dogs.
Now flush.
Is this it? Is that the husband there? Is that him? Is that the guy? Wait. He doesn't look very Asian.
Tasty.
Hang on a minute. Wait. That's not... Wait! That's another guy. What's this? What? Who's this guy with a man bun? Is that the side piece? PWC Saturdays. It's just an OnlyFans collab. No cause for alarm. He's got his rubber cock ready to go. Little does anyone know it's going to be the real deal this time. Jesus.
One set path that's the only way to succeed. But there's a lot of things that don't work. And the reason why they don't work, and I know they don't work, is because we've already tried them.
Finally, a real blowjob indicator. That's
so
absurd. Come on.
Ask you, like, hey, read chat.
I'm so confused because earlier today you were saying that we're not going to write off anything. We're going to try stuff that we've tried before, even because
absolutely, but it's with intent, right? It's not literally just, well, this didn't work, so let's do it. No, it's like, this didn't work, but is there a way we can do it that is now more interesting, you know, or more feasible with two people, you know, who are you know, in theory aligned on what they're trying to do. It's not do everything the same and see if anything's different. No, it might be the same type of stream. It might be the same activity, but we're not going to do it the same way. That's the whole point, right?
Okay. And I'm willing to try that.
Right, but like, you know, you keep trying to pin it on me that, oh, I'm frustrated because, you know, I read chat just like you asked me to. It's like, no. I said, you know, read chat. You said they're not saying anything. I said, okay, fine. Then pull something interesting out of them or induce something interesting. That is the advice, right? But then you chose not to do that. Instead, you chose to make it a meta discussion about, you know, how...
I didn't. I was just reading you the actual comments of what they were saying, and you didn't... I don't know. I guess you didn't like what they were saying or something. I don't know. I don't understand.
If you don't remember, like, let's not just pretend like, you know, oh, I don't like what they're saying. Did I say that?
But you keep getting upset.
So I didn't say that. Well, so what did I say? What I did was I suggested topics for us to, you know, kind of go back and forth on, no? But you didn't like those topics either. So it's like, look, here's the thing, right? You either come up with a topic, you either pull, you know, interesting commentary out of chat, or you go along with the topic that someone else has discussed. But like, this goes back to the thing where it's like, it's easy to, you know, complain, right? Very easy to complain. You know, way harder to actually come up with a solution, right? And the idea is that, like, you know, pointing out a problem.
But why do you have to come up with a solution now when you're live on stream? Why can't you just talk about it later? You know. Why? Why now? Why does it have to be now in front of stream in front of all these people, dude?
Doesn't help. Unless you're also going to point out a solution.
Okay, you keep missing the turn to go home.
Well, it's because it's too slow at updating.
Shut up and stick the rubber dildo to the mirror.
You hear what I'm saying? Like, you just get defensive instead. Like, and then you're like, oh, why don't you go start your own stream? I can, but you expect me to work on all your other shit too, don't you? Because if that's not what you expect, well then, of course I can do that.
No, the point is, you were trying to give advice about streaming, about being entertaining, and it's, you know, not likely that you'd be able to do it yourself. You got all these ideas about it, but you probably wouldn't be able to put your money where your mouth is. That is the point that she's making there.
You know, and then what are we measuring here? Whether I gain viewers, whether I lose viewers, whether I have more viewers than you? Like, what are we measuring? Right?
I was just saying, like, take my stream then, and instead of me streaming, you go stream on your own and experiment with activities. Then
he's like got a brain and a voice, and he's just squeezing it. Why do you think she's with him? Toxic codependency. That's my guess. Like, I don't know, man. It seems like they've got a very, like, you know, shitty relationship. Which is exactly, you know... Like I say, she said this is what happened with him, and it does seem like he's like that. Like, he's got it to this point, yeah. He started this, and now she's getting the blame. That's so absurd.
Know, like, if it's me or not.
And what if it is you? See, it's...
Well, then you can be the main character.
No.
That's fine.
You're not making any sense, right? The point is, it is your stream. The point is, it has to involve you. Now, the question for you is, are you willing to put in the effort and actually make a notable change, or do you just want to go and do what's comfortable like we've always done? That's the real question, right? Because it's bullshit to be like, oh, we'll take the stream, and if it's better, no. If it's better, nothing happens. The kit contract is your contract. My face on it, your face not on it, doesn't help. $0. You get what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, reality, you know, the die has already been cast on that, right? The contract is the contract, the content is the content, the channel is the channel. None of that is actually changeable, right? And
also, that's true as well. If you're contracted to kick, then what does it really matter? right? Like, you can just sit there quietly. Like, you know, not every minute of every day has to be the pursuing of, like, ever increasing viewership and attention. If you've got, like, a good contract, what's wrong with sitting there for 30 minutes chilling in the car? Yeah, fuck it, why not? You know? Like, she's reached a position where I don't think she needs to spend every moment desperately trying to come up with the absolute best content in that second for the stream. God, what a fucking... Dude, what a life. What a life, bro.
This thought experiment of, well, what if you go and do it? It's pointless. Sure, I could go stream for a week, a day, whatever. But that's a day that we are not getting any control.
I love talking to women like this. They are so desperate to reach a positive conclusion, they will just let you walk all over them. Easy win. Yes.
Contractual benefit.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
Sure, for those days, yeah. If it's an experiment to at least test so we know the direction.
Does it really make sense to do that experiment right here, right now? Or even tomorrow?
In my opinion,
answer the question. Yes. Really?
Yeah, because if you're saying it's a me thing, at least we can solve the problem faster to know like what direction.
No. Identifying a problem is not the same as solving the problem.
Well, it's a step in the right direction. You got to identify it to solve it.
Well, no. So that's something we can discuss now. If it is you, what can you even do? If the answer is nothing, then it's absolutely not the same thing, right?
You are asking a complex question that has a complex answer, and you're expecting her to answer it on her stream. Like, you know, this is like a very personal thing to get into, and it's not really something that you should put out to your audience. Do you know what I mean? Dude, I don't know if the whole thing, I mean, it's... Maybe we'll skip ahead a bit, but this is like hours and hours and hours. Apparently they argue in as well, is that right? Where should I skip to find the inside part?
You see, if you don't even know what you would do, then you don't have anything except a way of identifying a problem. And I just told you that I don't believe it's worth it to identify problems that you don't have
but how do I make money off
lead on solving.
I don't think there is a problem, to be honest.
True.
I think you're making a problem.
Thank you for the super chat.
How so?
Yeah, there isn't really a problem. I don't see a problem with this. Amouranth probably gets like fairly decent viewership, right? I don't think she needs to be super sweatlording all the time to maximize viewership. Unless her contract is reliant on viewership. I don't know how it works. But it's okay to like not be constantly chasing. And it's fine if you get to a certain point to just relax a bit. I mean, they can always reignite things in the future. But if you're successful, why do you constantly need to be chasing the next thing? She's like wealthy and successful as it is. Maybe she just wants to relax a bit. What's wrong with that?
Because like the channel is fine. Chud was having a good time.
What do you determine fine? What's fine?
I mean, we're not like struggling to get by.
Well, but that has nothing to do with the channel. That has everything to do with literally a 2-year contract.
Is dangerous enemy.
Right.
They even min-maxing dollar extraction from our gooners via our halls.
Donald, thank you for the 420. Bro. I mean...
You see, that's the thing, right? Like, if you're just talking about financially fine, well then, why would I bother doing anything at all? Because we're financially fine no matter what, right? That's not the point. The point is, and I've told you this before, and it's sad that you're still, you know, kind of haranguing me on this, is that, like, I'm willing to put in the effort if you're willing to put in the effort. If we are...
You're haranguing me! Huh? What? Darvo. It's Darvo. It's literal Darvo, bro. He's doing a Darvo. He's doing a Darvo. What do you mean? You're haranguing her. She's just sat there in the car and you started all this shit out of nowhere.
Agreed.
I thought the whole thing was we were going to make content together. So why is it on the onus on me to be the entertaining
When
one?
did I say the onus was on you? Did you not hear what I just said? Do I need to repeat myself again on that? I just said, right? The only reason I'm willing to put in the effort is if you and I are on the same page and you're willing to put in the effort. You see, how is that just you? I just literally started by saying I'm willing to if you're willing to. That doesn't sound like a just
Yeah, I am
thing.
willing to, but you're getting mad at me because I wasn't on
I'm
my
not getting
own.
mad at you, and you keep escalating my.
Okay, it appears that you are. So
it doesn't even appear that I am. It's just literally.
I feel that yeah. The framing of the thing that's biggest for me in all of this is the framing of Amouranth as completely bullshitting about her husband. She definitely embellished it. She definitely told a one-sided story, 100%. But it seems very obvious to me that her complaints about him and what he was doing are completely justified. Because look at the way he's acting now. You know? It's like matches up very well with what she was claiming. This guy's so awful, he made me feel bad for a woman. You know, and it's very clear that he is this guy who is badgering her about her content and trying to get her to do this, trying to get her to do that, you know? And imagine what it would be like off stream. Jesus.
I'm trying to create any level of interest, spark, discussion, and you're intent on just obfuscating and saying, oh, well, we don't have the specifics, so it's like, bro, we've never had the specifics on anything. You know, other people don't have the specifics on things that they comment on that regard us.
Specific, what? Those are two completely different.
Sorry, I kicked Chud. I forgot about you again. I see you. Very angry, I see. Chud, you suck, and Kick Chats hates you. Chud, you suck, and Kick Chats hates you. I've got you back.
Issues. One was you're asking me to comment on somebody else's life. The other is you're acting like there's a problem with the stream.
On what you think, you know, something should be, using them as merely an example.
And we're back to this again.
I'm so confused now.
I love you too, Kick Chat.
I asked you, you know, like...
Your fail for its status has been revoked. You've been promoted to correct take haver. I need to go back and double check what I said about it all. And I was pretty mean about Amouranth. I was pretty rude. I think the correct take is there was embellishment. It was one-sided. We didn't see her actions to fully judge his actions. So that's fine. I think we can say that. The idea that she totally fabricated and lied and made all of it up is not fair. And even though she engaged in behavior that seemed to undermine what she was saying later, I just think that he does seem like the kind of guy who is pushing for her to do this streaming stuff in the way that he thinks is best, you know? Because he's doing it now. And I'm guessing he did the same thing at the time. You know? I mean, what? She's making up that he does something only years later for him to be exactly like that. That doesn't really make sense to me. And probably worse in private, yeah.
Like, I gave you an outline of what their situation was. Then you made an assertion of, like, she deserves half. And so then I asked you to defend that assertion.
Guys, I don't know. It's not there. I think it's broken. But Restream is, like, really dumb. And it doesn't work. So hopefully it'll be fixed tomorrow. Okay? But I still can see you. Alright?
Right? And then you say you don't know the specifics. So then I backed out and I said, okay, fine. Then tell me under what circumstances, you know, would a person deserve half? At that point, we're no longer talking about them. We're talking about, you know, give me some broad strokes. What are some things that you would broadly consider to be...
But she said that she helped with events, and therefore you could discern from that she thinks if you help with events and help with stuff, they deserve more. Bro, she did explain. It's just you wanted more, and she wouldn't want to give more.
Pulling half the weight, right?
I
At
already
that point,
told you though.
No, you didn't. At that point, we're not talking about them anymore, right? The discussion has evolved, but you're still trying to latch on to. But I don't know specifics. I go. That's why I'm letting you dictate.
Well, if we're not talking about them, why even talk about it at all? Because it's not a common situation.
Easy, because...
By the way, you know, people are saying scripted. I don't think this is scripted. I think it's quite possible that he is acting like this intentionally and continuing on with this, even though it's obviously awkward and uncomfortable, because he wants this to happen and he wants people to talk about it. I don't know. Maybe there's something in that, perhaps. I just don't understand how he can keep relentlessly going at this for this length of time. I mean, this has been, what, 8:02? Like 35 minutes, this has been going round and round and round, you know? So yeah, I don't know. Back to Fell For It Again award. Okay. I don't know, man.
Anything
Let's
that
skip
happens,
a bit.
and it's newsworthy, and it's in this space, which is quite small.
Let's move forward, man, because I'm bored of this part.
Like, the reason why I'm saying that is because if you create a very lax way of determining input.
By the way, I've skipped forward 25 minutes, and this is where we are now.
Then both people are going to use that, right? So she'll be like, I worked 12 hours a day, right? Look, I have a log. It says I woke up at 8 and I started working and I didn't stop till 8 p.m.
He's still going.
Then what's to stop him from saying I work 22 hours a day?
He's still going.
All he has to do is show the same log, right? You see, that's what I'm saying. Like, while you're correct, it is easier to prove input.
But how do I make
both people can prove it, and then you're back at square one because now you have no way of determining
who
actually has more input versus whatever, right? Output is a little easier to measure because it's like, oh, look,
okay,
on this
another
day,
30 minutes.
I got a sponsorship deal. You know,
another 30 minutes. And they're muted. And they're muted. They're muted. When did they mute?
And it doesn't apply if you're asking about our situation. It doesn't apply because we already have a post up. So it's like, what are we talking about then?
Most of the situations that we're going to react to are not going to be relatable to regular people. Like, are you going to be able to relate to whether Hassan should or shouldn't buy a $2.1 million house? Right? Like, well, no, most of chat's not going to relate to that.
So what's his goal here? Does he just want us to talk about drama more? She doesn't want to talk about drama. Well, I mean, he wanted to talk about drama more. Back to Hassan. Yes, I know. Yes, back to Hassan. Back to Hassan. Back to Hassan! But, like, that's not her content. Like, all due respect to Amouranth, I'm not tuning into Amouranth to see a hot take on drama.
It's pretty clear that their relationship is more pimp/H0E than boyfriend/girlfriend.
Thank you for the super chats. So, I mean, yeah, I'm just like, why are you so desperate for her to talk about drama more? And I wonder if perhaps, maybe it's because she had that sting with Asmongold recently. And because of that, he's seen the attention that she's got and he's rubbing his hands together thinking she should do that more. But maybe she doesn't want to do that. Maybe she just gave a take, got a bit of attention on it, and she didn't want to fucking get into it that much. You know?
Right? The point is, you know, you can probably draw some conclusions, some notable thoughts, you know, from your own frame of reference, but chat's not going to understand it. They're going to have a very... Like, people are going to say, oh, Hassan should not buy a $2.1 million house. But then the counter argument would be, but he's in a part of Los Angeles where that's where single family home costs.
Okay. Yeah, good idea. Relitigate years-old drama. That sounds like good content.
I agree. That's not a relatable topic to the majority of chat. So if we are trying to entertain chat, why would we bring it up to begin with?
Okay, so whether you know it or not, most of the influencer things that make it to the drama, call it LSF, call it, you know, Streamer Reloaded, call it whatever site or aggregator of news and drama and stuff you want, they're not relatable. Even XQC getting his McLaren stolen is not relatable. Most of the most interesting stories that exist in our space are not relatable because, okay, the biggest achievement is to make it relatable to people who otherwise don't have your frame of reference. That's all. Like, if you want to think about it, right?
No, it's not about... This guy just doesn't know what he's talking about. When you talk about drama, it's not about making it relatable to people. And in fact, most of the time, the lack of relatability is very obvious. And people even comment on this. And it's why people fucking hate streamers. And it's why people, like, have this very negative attitude towards streamers and content creators in general, right? It's about interesting, entertaining things that are happening, or someone engaging in behavior that goes against their professed values, or you know, just some outrageous situation that is fun to talk about, right? That's what makes it interesting. And for XQC viewers, like, obviously they care because they've got a parasocial interest in XQC. But it's not because it's relatable to them or you make it relatable to them. And if I talk about it, I'm not out there to make it relatable to you. It's, hey, look at this crazy thing that's happened, guys. What do you think? Here's what I think, blah, 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 you know? So, yeah, it's like he just doesn't understand it. He doesn't get it. Like, he's trying to do something that he doesn't even understand why it's interesting. Or why people want to watch that kind of content. And I just don't think that people are going to want to go to Amouranth for, like, drama topics or, you know, for her to engage in the kind of commentary she did when she talked about Asmongold, and that then generated some controversy. Anyway, very, very dumb takes from this guy in terms of actually talking about this stuff.
It's boring to talk about relatable topics because Chad has already worked through that in their own life. They're not here to kind of plumb the problems that they face.
True. I think people like talking about relatable topics. So
no, it's true.
It's true
if you can offer them a solution, but I don't think that we necessarily can.
Dude, this guy's just offer them a solution. Talking about relationship stuff is some of the most entertaining content going. What is he on about? Yeah, people who've got shitty relationships and they go online and they hear other people talk about relationships and they go, oh, this is interesting. Look at all the different things happening with this thing. Oh my God, that's crazy. God, this guy's just clueless. He's totally fucking clueless about what it even is and what it means to talk about drama stuff well. And he's trying to act like he's some fucking expert. What does he know?
At least not commonly. And so then it becomes, okay, fine. If I'm not going to be able to give you a realistic solution, or if there's not a realistic solution, then what am I doing, right? Whereas when we talk about these, you know, outrageous topics that are kind of outliers, they're interesting because they're outliers, because they're so rare, right? It's the same thing as, like, you see an animal and you're like, holy shit, there's only like 200 of these in the wild. Why does that matter? You know, you should be like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You know, I'm never going to see it again, so who cares? No, like, it's the fact that you don't see it often that makes it so much more interesting, so much more unique, and, like, you know, you want to capture that moment or a photograph or, you know, whatever. Like, you're making a case that, like, most people want to see most, like, regular mundane things. I don't think that's true.
That's not, no. Wanting to see regular mundane things is not the same as bringing up a topic that doesn't apply to most people and expecting me to be able to weigh in on it without watching a video about the facts. That's like not the same thing at all.
In a lot of ways, what you're doing is you're trying to make it unrelatable, because the core issue that we're talking about is hyper relatable. It's like a man and a woman are married, right? And however you want to spin it, let's say the woman is the sole breadwinner and the man is the homemaker, right? Let's just flip it on its head. Okay, fine.
Bro,
what matters?
Bro, it's over an hour that they've been talking about this, and he's still back to the same fucking point, bro. What the fuck? Bro, I feel like people are sick of this in chat as well. He's just saying words, just nod and wave. She gets it, we get it. Nick needs to play with Destiny. God damn, shut up already. You're even boring me, dude. Dude. Bro thinks he knows what we want. What world is he on? What we don't always need is solutions. He's just straight wrong. Can you ask him if he would ever admit to being wrong? Keep looping. Chat is based.
More. The woman works 8 hours a day. The man says he works 12 being a homemaker. Does he deserve more because his input's more?
Deserve more what?
Of the asset split, because he has a stated higher input.
I don't know, maybe. Depends if she has kids or not that she has to take care of after. Like, I don't, there's a lot of things that go into it. That's why I don't like answering these, because there's so many different factors.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're exploring the factors.
We don't have to, though. That's so boring.
Okay. See, when you say we don't have to, I would just counter with we don't have to do anything. But the point is, if we're gonna do something, then we might as well put our best foot forward and do it, you know, in the most optimized way possible. Because I agree with you there. We don't have to. Just like I don't have to do, you know, any of the career-related things. I don't have to do half a dozen other things. There is no have to here. We're beyond have to. We're like light years past have to.
Okay, but we can choose to engage in fun topics and do fun things and focus on positivity. We don't have to talk about negative shit that doesn't affect us personally and that no one else really cares about when we're not even involved in the situation.
Again, I asked you to come up with something. I asked you to, what's chat saying? What's interesting, and like you just basically blanked on most of it. And so
they weren't saying anything at the moment. It doesn't mean that they won't say anything. It just means that at the moment. In those few seconds.
And so you can't come up with a filler for those few seconds?
It doesn't, not everything has to be a filler. You can have a few seconds of peace.
Yes, exactly.
What to do
Bro,
next.
Even the most fucking intense IRL stream people have car journeys where nothing happens. I've seen it, where you're watching an IRL streamer think some crazy thing has happened, and they're just in a car, and nothing's happening. They're on their phone, just chilling for a bit. Holy fuck, dude. This guy just wants relentless, endless content. It's just not possible with the kind of streaming that's happening here. I mean, I am quite conscious of this and always want to ensure that I'm minimizing the amount of dead air that's happening. But when you're doing an IRL stream, inevitably there's going to be those moments because of the nature of that type of streaming. It's not like a desktop stream where the point is you sit there, talk about stuff, react to shit, etc. There's going to be times when you're traveling between events. And then, naturally, you're not necessarily going to have stuff to talk about, Tell me this woman is not battered every day. What is this you sent me? What is this? My husband Nick literally brought me here after he shot an intruder who took me as hostage in our home. This food was the best Italian food I've ever had. 10 out of 10. Worth living for. Thank you, Kate and Nick. $200 tip. Wow. What's wrong with this? This seems nice. Doesn't it? No? And what is this? What is this Venusaur? Is that like a rare card or something? Okay, I don't know what that is. There's a hidden message. Help me. If you look at the left-hand side, it says help me.
We're planning it. We're routing to the next place.
You understand how your objection of like, oh, we don't have to. It's like, we don't have to do anything. That's not a valid response for why we should or shouldn't do something at this point. Is that understandable or agreeable to you?
Sure, but like, of all the things that we could talk about, why make it negative?
Well, that's the thing, right? It's your job to make sure that, you don't make it hyper awkward and make your chat...
It wasn't awkward. We were all just chilling.
Look, if you want to do it on your own...
I don't want to. I'm just saying stop, making this like an issue when there is no issue.
To me, it is an issue.
What is the issue?
The issue is that I am trying really, really, really hard to juggle all of these things. And it would be very helpful if you actually just made a conscientious effort to try and enable this instead of trying to poo-poo it and trying to fucking, get into a place where it's like your chat's going to defend you, of course, because they've been with you longer, they're loyal to you, and if you want them to dislike me, that's easy enough.
Don't want them to dislike you.
But I'm telling you right now, that is what's happening.
Oh my god, dude, this is so...
I said, let's just talk about something else then. It's like,
it's
we don't need it. There's no need to talk about this. It's not a pressing situation.
I've taken a ton of L's for you, and I am keeping my lips sealed. The onus is on you to not make...
Oh my god, dude, that's a reference to what happened, isn't it? I've taken a ton of L's for you. He's talking about the thing that happened in October 2022. Yo, let's go!
That, a one-sided thing. And right now, it's very much a one-sided thing.
What do you mean you're keeping your lips sealed? About what? You're telling us exactly how you feel.
Do you really... No. I'm telling you how I feel about this particular topic. But it's not...
Oh, go on.
Are you serious here, or are we posturing here? Because
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. What does that mean?
Okay, 2022. We could go into that.
Yes, bro. I called it. I fucking told you guys. Let's go.
It wouldn't reflect well on you.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't have said anything. But it's like, yeah, I was frustrated in the moment. We both should have had more sleep, and it shouldn't have happened. But that's because we were grinding too much.
That's not my point. Do you want to discuss it?
I don't know what you're wanting, man. Whatever you want to do, Nick. I don't have a preference at this point. I would just like you to feel better. So whatever we need to do that's great.
I mean, it's a very long discussion, and we should also talk about the whole issue that led to the tea thing, but you've historically said you don't want to talk about it, and I've honored that. It makes me look bad, but it's fine. I'll take the L. Are we going to talk about that? Do you want to talk about that? Because that changes the entire conversation.
What are you talking about, Nick?
You want to mute it? Or do you want me to say it to chat? You got to make a choice here.
Sure, I can mute it if...
No, I don't want to mute. No.
No, it's muted. No, Amouranth speciality. Amouranth speciality, mute. Let's move off this topic anyway. What do you think about this stream couple who got divorced? Yes, dude, true. Right, okay. Lip readers in chat? No? Okay, well, I'll just skip the muted part. Oh, dude, this is insane. Bro, it's so wild that they even brought up the 2022. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, we're going to have to skip ahead a bit more manually here because it looks like they muted for quite a bit. Oh, Kick fucking... Oh my God. Kick sucks, bro. Okay, we can skip forward quite a bit, I think. They're muted for quite a while. Wow. So this guy was moaning about fucking not making content on the stream, and this argument has now led to them muting for like another hour. Wow, great call, dude. Yeah, you've really made this stream better. Good job. And so they have an over hour-long personal argument that's muted. Wow. Great call. Great content insights there. Good shit. Start an argument that leads to like over an hour of mute. Content king here, guys. Content king. Content genius strikes again. Okay, this is them coming into the house, I guess. Okay, here we go. The car chair stream is wild.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Here we go.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
All right.
What's the 22 law for us that aren't terminally online?
Oh my god, dude! Thank you very much for the super chat. Amouranth had basically Amouranth made allegations of abuse from her husband. Okay. And basically she was muted on a call and then she unmuted and was crying, having a heated argument with him. And he was speaking to her very aggressively. Right? She then went on to explain the reason that she was upset was because, you know, he's saying terrible things about the dogs, and then apparently he was very like forceful in terms of trying to make her make content and so on and stuff like that, right? They then like split up. She then did a stream where she said, Dobby is free, and said, I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to make the content I was making previously. And then she went into making exactly the same content that she previously had been making. So a lot of people, myself included, who at first was more believing of her, were then a lot more skeptical and started to doubt it. Because it seemed so bizarre that she'd said this and then she'd gone immediately back to making the same content that she did. But I think now, with this context, it seems that although it was embellished and one-sided, and we still don't know what provoked that conversation, the thing that she said that does seem to be true is that he is very pushy and forceful in terms of getting her to make a certain type of content, and we're seeing it play out very clearly here, you know? And it's the same guy. They apparently split up and they got back together over the shooting incident. Like, he was there and they were lied about it at first, I guess, to cover up the fact they were back together. And now it's out that they're together. And so we're here now looking at this conversation. That is the best, quickest summary I can give you. Right, here we go. They're going in the house now. Here we go. Oh. Interesting angle. Oh.
Yo. Sorry about that. I got really defensive earlier, and I shouldn't have.
Oh! Bro, that's like, you know, you see a woman with like all cuts and stuff up her arm where husband's tried to batter her. What are those cuts? Oh, I got a bit too defensive of myself. That's insane, dude. It wasn't her. She was not responsible for that at all. She did nothing wrong.
He was just trying to have a discussion. So in the past, I've told him, treat me as like an intellectual equal and challenge me on topics.
He won.
So that
He
I
won.
Get better at public speaking. So I wanted to get better at expressing myself on sensitive topics like the fucking, last controversy. So he was trying to give me practice for that, do that, and then I got snappy and annoyed. Maybe the alcohol. I don't know. But anyways, it's all right. For my selfish dick.
Okay. Did you hear that? Someone outside was saying meow. Okay, right, let's skip ahead a bit, because apparently there's more arguing that happens.
Woo, going crazy, puppies!
I don't care about the dogs. Don't care about the doggos. Doggos, not interesting to me. Get to the real material. There we go. Wow, where's his energy with the robbers? White women and dogs, am I right, guys?
No, the situation. You guys need to stop fucking saying shit. Y'all don't know the situation. I already had asked him to challenge me on topics beforehand. Y'all gotta stop trying to act like he's a bad guy.
Dude. Come on, man. We all saw what happened. She's running she's clearly running defense for him. So the husband orchestrated the robbery to... dude, DK. DK trying to find any angle that she's a lying bitch, basically. Okay. Dude, that is insane. Guys, don't point out this guy's a total fucking loser, please. Stop.
See, this is the tough part about being on the internet. Everyone tries to act like they know you in your situation.
No, not the music. No. Okay, she's just sitting there in silence now. Come on, let's get to the good stuff. Come on. Bro, she's obviously... Bro. She's so fucked in the head, dude. Jesus. Just sat there looking at chat dead-eyed. Desperately hoping for someone that pulls her out of the situation. Like, shell-shocked. It looks like she's been crying as well. Fucking hell, man. This is bleak, dude.
I don't know.
Probably tired as well from streaming. Oh my god, dude. Save her, Chud.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Oh, it's fine.
How do I
It's
make
the chat.
money off depressed people?
She looks Irish.
What?
Her facial bone structure looks like she's built for this type of relationship.
Thank you for the $5. I'm going to order a selection of various coloured rubber cocks, and I'm going to get over to where she is post-haste so that I can save her.
Was fine previously. I just don't think it's just the amount of hostility in the chat. I just don't think he's gonna want to stream with me anymore.
Oh. Basically, I'm gonna have like a suitcase. I'm gonna turn up. Hi, Amouranth. Nice to meet you. I'm here for the initial shoot. Just open it up, and there's gonna be a variety of various size, different coloured cocks. Black, obviously, the biggest. In those kind of foam indents that you get, you know? There's going to be like about 6 of them in those foam indents. So let's open them up like this. Okay, come on now. Enough. Stop it. Right, come on. Let's get to the berating. Come on. I'm here for the tryouts, Amouranth. Black or Mexican first? What flavour you feeling? Chirp in a trench coat. Yeah, open the trench coat. They're just attached inside.
Trying to make sure.
Where's the camera doing that? Bro, the trench coat, and they're all there. Laid out, ready to go.
That I don't ruin myself. Like happen, you know. I don't know. He does a lot of stuff. Like good at. He had like $500,000 partly from investments.
Yeah, we're gonna skip this at some point. People said there was more though. I want to get to when they're arguing. I get that she's like sad with chat. When does Hubbo show up again? Here we go.
A lot of other.
Here we go. This is him here.
Press out.
Come on, what's he got to say for himself? Let's hear his side of it. Finally. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Oh.
With his little cap on.
Gaming.
Oh look, they're showing a united front.
HPOU. Here we go. Huh. Well, that's crazy.
Come on, what you got to say for yourself?
Text nearly. Okay, what are you guys saying? Nick, are you making a kick channel? I have a kick channel. I just don't know what it's called. The team made it for me today, along with like the other socials. I might stream on it. We'll see. Yeah. You said I'm unlikable. Insane people think insane things. Look, I get it. It's her stream. You guys will tend to side with her, and that's perfectly fine. My whole thing is that, like, I don't really care to do the whole streaming thing unless we're actually gonna really, like, try the streaming thing, right? Because, you know, reasonable minds can differ, but, like, let's be honest, right? Like, this stream could be better. Has it done well? Yeah, of course, right? But, like, we're talking, like, you know, like, does someone who has one Grand Slam title, if we're talking tennis, are they a good tennis player? Like, undoubtedly, right? Undoubtedly. Does that mean they can't get any better? No one would say that, right?
Well, yeah, but then, like, tennis players aren't constantly playing fucking tennis all the time. And there's going to be times when they take a break or they maybe are training, but it's a lot more relaxed and they're not going hard at it, right? There's going to be like ups and downs, on seasons, off seasons, or like bodybuilding or something like that, right? Like, tennis players are not expected to show up every single fucking day and play tennis to the best of their ability in front of an audience all the time. They're not playing tennis 5 days a week to an audience at the top level. That's like an event that you do, you know, at a certain point, and then you have an off season where you relax and don't do as, like, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's reasonable that Amouranth does not want to be at fucking 110% at all times. And also, it's a different thing anyway. But in any case, like, Amouranth has reached a level of success where it's okay to take the foot off the gas for a bit. There's literally nothing wrong with sometimes taking the foot off the gas. She doesn't have to be sweatlording at all times. That is fucking ridiculous. And all it does is lead to burnout. If someone is constantly pushing and striving and moving forward, you will just burn out and then you're fucked, okay? So it's completely ridiculous to act like she has to constantly be striving and pushing forward. She's got, like, you know, for what purpose? For what reason? There is no streaming fucking Grand Slam to win, right?
And so if we're gonna do this for me, I think it has to be like balls to the wall, all in, right? If she doesn't want to, she doesn't have to, right? I would way rather not.
It's just so obnoxious as well. So he's got his own channel that he can do his own thing on. But he wants to slip into Amouranth's success, When Amouranth clearly is in a position where she wants to maybe lay off a bit, and he wants to ratchet it up further, and he wants to like push it forward. Do that on your own fucking stream, bro. Start your own stream and do your fucking Grand Slam analogies and put yourself out there and put the effort in. You know?
Okay. Yeah, like it would be my preference to not do it. But if she's gonna do it, like what I don't like is like when it's like, oh, I'm gonna do it some of the time. It's like some of the time is either, you know, more time than originally anticipated, or it's just kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, right? It's all or nothing, and it's always all or nothing. Like, none of these people who are good streamers, I mean, first of all, they're obsessed with entertaining, right? Like, y'all might not believe that, right? But I've met enough of them.
Bro, like, XQC is hardly sweat lording out there, is he? Often he's just reacting. I mean, bro, some of his reacts are fucking ridiculous. People watch because they like XQC, and he's built a big enough audience that he can rest on his laurels a bit, right? I feel like he's looking at people like, yeah, XQC's in his room reacting to TikToks, okay? And he's funny. He's naturally entertaining. He doesn't need to try super hard. God, there's these people who think they know it all, right? He's fortunate enough they ended up getting married to someone who's like probably the most successful female streamer going. And he's pushing her to do more. You do something, bro. You go start a stream then, dude.
That, like, you don't understand. Like, they stress about, you know, making other people's streams entertaining, right? Like, I've literally seen XQC stress out when he's not even streaming and he's at a party and, like, someone else is streaming and he's just like, wait, who's going to entertain their chat? They can't just leave it on a tripod, right? That's the kind of thing that you need. Because in this kind of industry...
Has this guy seen an XQC stream? This is insane that he's fucking, you know, trying to act like XQC is the fucking, oh, I've got to be so entertaining at all times. When most of the time he's sat there fucking farting, eating his nails, watching TikToks. And I like XQC. I find his content funny and entertaining when I watch clips of him. But the idea that he's an example of someone who's sweat lording it to push further and further is just not true. You know? And that's fine. He's in a position where he can do that. Good for him. But guess what? So is Amouranth. Amouranth doesn't need to be sat there sweat lording out because she's made it and she's successful. You know? It's, bro, it's so crazy that you're just pushing. Just let her fucking chill for a bit, bro. What's the big deal?
Okay, it's just like a lot of other industries in that, like, you know, winemaking, anything involving horses. None of that shit is profitable. Like, in aggregate, right? In aggregate, none of it's profitable. Why? Because too many people love those verticals, right? There's a lot of people who love horses. They would love to do anything bordering horses. There's a lot of people who love wine. It's just like the stereotypical rich person's lifestyle business, right? And because that's the case, in aggregate, they make no money because, you know, there's so much there's so much supply relative to demand that they have no pricing power, right? It's kind of the same for streaming. Like, there are so many people who would do this job for free.
Yeah, dude, exactly. This is some dude who got lucky meeting her, now thinks he's a businessman. It's sick, bro. It makes me sick. Yes, exactly. You're not a businessman, you're an Asian with an ego. Yes, true!
That if you are a person who's making a tremendous amount of money doing it, there's like 1 million people who would love to replace you, and they're willing to go harder, stream longer. You know, they're willing to do every superlative.
Amouranth is not in a position where she can be replaced like that, okay? She has built up an audience of loyal viewers who watch her for her, right? As much as there's this narrative that you can just replace it with another woman, there's a reason that they watch and consume and engage with her. You can't just replace someone like that. Someone could put a lot more effort in and not be able to replace Amouranth. Like, this guy is just delusional. He thinks that more effort equal... Like, dude, he's just clueless. He's totally clueless about this. Dude. And also, it's like, apparently he's got a problem with doing other things, like with riding a horse or something. Dude, classic person who's got lucky in some way, doesn't know what they're talking about, and thinks they're fucking hyper intelligent weighing in on this.
Superlative possible to succeed, right? And as someone who has done well, it's like you have a lot more resources at your disposal, but I always say this thing, and I think it's just true. Nothing beats obsession, right?
Yeah, exactly. We have $30 million and we're in our early 30s. I guess we need to really turn up the pace. What is this logic? Like, why not think about, I don't know, starting a family? Because when you're there on your deathbed, what would you rather have? Oh, we worked really hard and made millions and millions of dollars, and then we made millions of dollars more. Or is it going to be better to be surrounded by people that love you and are sad to see you go, and you can look at your next generation that you're going to leave behind and know you can pass away in peace, knowing that you've set something up for the future and you've passed something along that will be eternal, you know, or whatever. Maybe not eternal if they don't have kids, but you know what I mean? You've given a shot for you to pass forward in some way when you were not able to. Most of your chat is dying alone. This is the thing with all these people that it's like, I'm fairly certain there's this thing, and maybe it's a bullshit concept. I don't know if it's true or not, okay? But it seems true to me, so I'm going to say it anyway. But it's the idea that people are on their deathbed. You get these CEOs and these people that have worked all their life and chased the money and chased the money and chased the money. And they're asked like what their regrets are. And it's stuff like, you know, I didn't spend more time with my family. I spent too much time in my office. I missed too many of my children's birthdays. You know, I missed, like, my kids growing up. I missed my grandkids growing up because I was so obsessed with the office and working and da-da-da-da-da, right? Like, this is all fleeting. Money is temporary, okay? Children are forever. Hallmark movie cope. Okay, dude. Okay, dude, fine. Maybe I'm being a bit gay. But I just think that people who pursue satisfaction through money, you know, not having kids is going to fuck you over, basically. And I just think that even if it's Hallmark movie cope, I think the sentiment that I'm expressing is true.
Not genius, not talent, nothing. Not resources, right? But if you can pair obsession with any of those attributes, you're unstoppable. And so for me...
Sorry, okay. What an utterly retarded comment. Sorry, just be broke and have family to be happy. Who the fuck is saying that Amouranth needs to be broke, you fucking cretin? Okay? Absolutely brain dead. I'm saying they're wealthy already, so why not start a family? Okay? I'm not saying they need to be broke. I'm saying you're already wealthy, so why not start a family? That's the pathway to true happiness. Endlessly pushing forward to make more money when you've already got it is not going to make you happier, but having kids is very likely to. Far more likely than trying to get another 20 million in the bank. Dude. A black man surrounded by diamond grills and gold chains on his deathbed versus a happy white man with his sons and his son's sons all holding his high school football trophies. Wait, why are you making that about race? Why did you bring race into it? What's that about? Why did you make it about black versus white, dude? What?
It's like all in or all out, man. Because why? Like, I just don't understand the half-in thing. You know? Like... It's just a hobby then, I guess, right? Like a little bit of a hobby. It's like, great. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I'm not particularly inclined to spend a significant amount of my time helping someone dabble.
Well,
we gonna watch this video?
There's never been anyone close to Ammo early days. Yeah, it's because here's the thing, right? Like the observation that I had very early on was, hey, none of these e-girls are particularly diligent. And it's just like, if we have more uptime, we're literally gonna accrue all the viewers. It doesn't even matter how entertaining we are, right? Because none of them have enough uptime. And in fact, if you time your uptime around when...
Bro, this guy is like fucking treating her like an economic unit. Dude. He's like a pimp. He's like a fucking pimp. Yeah, babe, we gotta get, we gotta get you out in the streets more, bitch. We gotta get that pussy slung on more streets for more time. Based on my other hoes, you've only got 2 hours a day on the street. These other hoes are out there fucking turning tricks for 5 hours, bitch. Dude, that's what it's like, dude. This is ridiculous.
When people stop streaming, because everyone's on this, you know, or at least the e-girls are on this pretty rigorous schedule, like you'd have literally e-girls like be like, okay, I stream from noon to 3 p.m. Right? So then all you got to do is fucking stream at 3 p.m. and you're guaranteed to pick up that person's viewership. There's a time on Twitch when the density was so low that that's all it took, right?
Bro, this is like the most obnoxious analysis. You need to have some basics. You need to be consistent. You need to stream at, you know, the regular time for a regular amount of hours. But there's a point at which you're overthinking it. And this is like way too in-depth. Like, what, dude? You don't need to get that deep into it. Just stream consistently for a decent amount of time, right? And that's probably enough. You don't need, especially if you're successful already, you don't need to be doing this, you know, oh, well, what about this time? If we streamed at this time, we can catch up and pick these viewers. Dude. And also, yeah, it's your fucking wife, bro. It's your wife you're talking about. You're treating her like she's a fucking economic output machine. Ammo babe, Lily Phillips is doing a second 100-man subathon. We need to go harder. We got to get you out there. We need to get your numbers up. I've ordered in an extra 50 rubber cocks so we can simulate a gangbang scene, okay? It's the only way.
We're at a place where, you know, kind of across all social media, you can't just exploit a strategic opportunity like that. Like, you actually have to be fairly tactical and really,
thank you for the super chats.
You know, kind of explore the nitty-gritty aspect.
Her own thing, and he thinks he is the brains behind her success. Also, don't talk strategy on your stream, lol.
Yeah, this stuff is so stupid, man. Like, it's ebbs and flows as well. There's ebbs and flows too. You know, we are now moving into March, April, May. We're moving from, you know, to summertime. There's generally a natural downturn in viewership that you experience coming up to the summer because obviously people tend to, as the sun comes out following winter and spring, they want to get outside and do stuff that isn't sat at home watching a stream. Like, it's the ebbs and flows of content, of viewership. It's fine. Like, you don't need to be going so hard at it all the time, right? Around Christmas is important to go hard because of increased ad rates. Yeah, you want to be focused on that. Sure. Maybe a bit different on Kick. I don't know how it works. But all of this is also a bit moot because she's got a contract. She's got a contract, so it doesn't really matter as much what she does as long as she meets the requirements of her contract, you know? I'm starting to think more and more that I think she was treated unfairly. I think people were, you know, quite harsh on her when it does seem like she did have some genuine concerns to raise, you know? But yeah. It's the nasty faux business and language and manner of speaking. It lacks any and it lacks any and all sense of being human. Yeah, there's no humanity here. God, could you imagine being in a relationship with someone and you're on stream talking like this about it? It's bizarre. Anyway,
you know,
I'm gonna literally piss myself. I'm pissing myself.
High, no, right? How to make sure, like, and all of this is in service of longer term building an audience expectation and a community, right? Because once you get that, then now it's like super laid back and chill and people will just come and watch you be you. But you have to earn that, right? One way or another, you earn that. Yeah. What's your ethnicity, Bubba? Chinese? Taiwanese, I guess, but what's really the difference? How did you miss your shots on the robbers? I didn't miss all of them. All three of them kind of ran up and were kind of in each other's way, and so I shot the first guy.
Okay, that's wonderful.
You know,
but how do I make money?
He's lucky that I didn't have, you know, either my shoddy or like a 300 blackout, because that would have gone through like 2 or 3 of them.
You want to watch the video now? Or?
Yeah, in a second. I just figured I'd address chat. Is that an issue?
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah. I doubt she was gonna go viral talking about NMP. That's not the point, man. Like it's like the whole point is like, I mean, y'all know about the controversy she got in recently, you know, like that comes from not necessarily, you know, what everyone is saying. It's like, oh my God, so bigoted. It's like, no, it just comes from not having a lot of experience, you know, touching on sensitive topics. Right? There's a way to dance across it, and there's a way to not do it. The only way you're going to get better is by doing more of it. And the NMP thing is a low-risk way to do it because everyone's already covering it. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're in good company. You're not going to have anyone try or able to cancel you no matter what your take is. So you might as well have a very, very...
Bro, he's making it so like this overwrought analysis of it all. It's too much, man. Right? If you want to dabble your toe in it, just talk about a topic and just relax into it. If you're putting up all these provisos and thoughts about it, you're going to make it very difficult to just have a normal conversation. And also, it's going to be very unpleasant to do that kind of content. You know, you need to do content that you want to do. You can't force it into like. It just comes across. It comes across if you're not doing content that you're interested in. This is the type of guy that watches those day in the life Insta reels religiously, like the black guy from the other day. Yes. Dude, I've seen some great memes about that. I've seen some banging memes. Like, they point out the time differences of, like, it took this guy 1 minute to walk outside of a door and stuff like that, dude.
Okay, that's wonderful.
They're so stupid. No one's life is like that. It's fake. People. Thank you for the $2. Yeah, there's another one as well, actually. Did I bookmark it? Bro, there's so many. I tell you what, I've seen all the white guy ones, and they just look like Patrick Bateman. But these black guy ones, I don't know, they're very, like, savage, if you see what I'm saying.
Absolute take, right? It's the Dave Ramsey thing all over again. It's better to overstate than to understate on the internet. Bro, do you ever stop yapping? Never. Missile launcher, surprise, motherfucker. That's what streaming profession is.
Dude, sorry, I've been ignoring chat. He sounds like a corrupt CEO talking analytics about his wife. Yeah, dude, you don't need to get that deep into it. Obviously, there's some basics you need to do. Not to this level. Oh, well, we were talking about this, and that's okay to talk about. And you see, if we just stream at 3 a.m., we're going to be able to pick up this. Dude, fuck off. Fuck off, dude.
Never heard Taiwan. They all look alike. No, there's different ways of yapping. I can hear XQC all day low. Well, yeah, because, like, XQC is, like, the everyman, right? Like, he is, it's funny because a lot of the things that make him seemingly hard to relate to are actually what, you know, people gravitate towards. I don't know who that is. The only 2 streamers I watch. China girls can drink a lot. Look at Red Note Nick. Come in. Oh, shit. Red Note? She said she didn't want to talk about NMP tonight. Bro, shut
What
the
did he just say?
Bro, do you ever stop yapping? Never. Missile launcher. Surprise, motherfucker.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money?
That's what streaming profession is.
He is a homo who got lucky. Bro, just shut your tap and accept the Amouranth.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for the super chat.
Never heard Taiwan. They all look alike. No, there's different ways of yapping. I can hear XQC all day low. Well, yeah, because, like, XQC is, like, the everyman, right? Like, he is, it's funny because a lot of the things that make him seemingly hard to relate to are actually what, you know, people gravitate towards.
What?
I don't know who that is. The only 2 streamers I watch. China girls can drink a lot. Look at Red Note Nick. Come.
Bro, How is he the everyman? People like watching him because he's funny, and he's not the everyman. He's not relatable. You could barely even understand what he's saying half the time. He's not the dude. He just has got no clue about what he's talking about, dude. I don't hate Kick Chat. I love Kick Chat. It's just unfortunate that when it's not on the screen, it's more difficult to see. But I can see it right now. Don't worry.
Oh shit, Red Note. She said she didn't want to talk about NMP tonight. Bro, shut the fuck up, man.
Ooh.
Like seriously. I know you guys think y'all have the full picture, but y'all have no fucking idea. Right? Like y'all have no fucking idea. Like there were days, you know, for months on a time, 6 months at a time, where we were picking up 10,000 followers a day on Instagram, which also might be coming back soon, or at least we can get the name back. You think all that's easy? Like I spend like fucking all day talking to fucking every fucking
bro. Yeah, and guess what? There's a peak that you're going to reach. It is impossible. Also, yeah, we. Bro, you think you're... Bro, fuck off, bro. The main reason people are following is they're going to look at Amouranth's tits, okay? She's the reason that people are following. And on top of that as well, like, yeah, eventually it's going to reach a point where you're not going to get that kind of attention because you've already garnered so much attention as it is. Is this motherfucker speaking French now with this wee shit?
Person under the sun just to get linked up with someone on Instagram who can fucking unban that account, right? Like, I know you guys think that, oh my God, I'm just kind of like riding along. Shit like that makes me just want to do it on my own, fuck. Because like I'm tired of the bullshit that I keep seeing on here. Yeah, you have eyes and ears, you know? Sure, buddy. You know, but they're filled with shit, so, you know, good luck. Like, I saw some such dumbass takes earlier. Someone was like...
Bro, I don't know where this content idea has come from. Okay, but the idea... Wonderful. But how thank you for the super chats.
Off depressed people. I didn't know Glenn from TWD is this much a wretch. Ruins the show for me.
Yeah, bro, where's fucking Negan when you need him? Thank you for the super chat. People are not tuning into Amouranth to listen to you whine like a bitch and fight with chat, okay? Like, this guy thinks he knows content. Do your own fucking show. Do your own channel. Do your own stream. Okay? This is absolutely absurd to be sat here banging on like this as if that's why people are tuning in. You'll get a fleeting moment of attention from the controversy, but people are not here for this.
Like, oh, you could hire a better investment manager. Hey, fucking moron. That's how I know you're privileged, right? That you don't understand that functionally there is literally no difference between hiring a good manager and finding a good investment. Both are equally unlikely, right? If you even took a moment to try and understand why, it's painfully obvious.
Bro, it's like he's taken over the stream and he's just making the content worse. Who the fuck wants to sit here and listen to this? It's just like meaningless, empty shit that he's saying that isn't even interesting or compelling.
Right? What makes a company a good investment? Let's talk about the stock, for instance, right? What makes a company a good investment? Huh? The management team? Them doing the right things? Them being in the right industry? Them making the right moves? Okay. And so when you say that hire a good investment manager, it's like, what, you think it's an inefficient market like that? You think the guy who can bang out 70% a year, he's going to charge you the same as the guy who can bang out 10?
Bro.
No, the guy who can bang out 70 is charging you fucking Renaissance technology exorbitant rates. So, like, y'all just don't understand it. Like, it's like, if someone can make you 40%, they're going to charge you like fucking 25% to do it.
By the way, before they play this video, he goes on for like another 15 minutes. That is insane. He still just bangs on and on and on.
Then you'll make 15% and they'll make 25, right? Because why the fuck would they let the guy who, you know, only makes 15%, you know, kind of, like, why would they just offer free alpha to the market or to an investor? You know what I mean? Like, okay, fine. Name a good manager. Name a good manager. You're going to name some broke dick fucking RIA, right? Or you're going to name a hedge fund manager that charges 2 and 20. Like, you guys have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Like,
what the fuck does this guy know about anything? Why would we listen to what this guy's got to say? Is he like a particularly like famous investor or knowledgeable investor and knows about these affairs?
It's just as hard. I would much rather find a good investment manager. That's easier than finding a good investment. But like, not remotely feasible. Name one. Name one. Name two.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Shit you read on Forbes literally 2 days ago. You don't know this simple shit, you fucking idiot. Yes, he just comes across like that guy. Comes across like the kind of guy that read something and acts like he's an expert even though he didn't know it 2 days earlier.
Right? Like, name any number of them.
Don't get one guy.
Bro, that's where you're wrong. Right? That's where you're wrong. Because the types... I mean, look, you can math it, right? We pay a 40% plus marginal tax rate, right? And so, like, let's say we make $1 million a month. It's a little more than that, but like, let's just say that for a nice even number, right?
Off depressed people.
Even after abusing Amouranth and shooting an ethnic teenager, this guy has managed to make himself unlikable.
Thank you. Yes, true. Thank you for the super chat. He doesn't know the industry for shit. If he did, he wouldn't be spurging on stream like this. Absolutely. Crazy's attempt to look so knowledgeable shows how little he knows. This is just not... I mean, I'm just watching the kind of car crash aspect of it. But this isn't actually entertaining or good content. He's not even spurging out in a comedic way. He just sounds like a smug prick. And it's like, oh, okay, you're just a kind of a dickhead, aren't you?
Right out the gate, we only really get 600,000. You know? And so, like, you could call it a 40% loss, but that's just tax, right? Unavoidable, right? That's where you're wrong. You know, if you structure your investments the right way, there's no reason why, you know, you can't match it up with, you know, the schedule for depreciation for an asset. And then instead of, you know, $1 million becoming 600K, you have $1 million, you know, becoming 850K. So that month alone, you're picking up a $250,000 delta, right? And then that delta isn't just sitting idle. You're investing that as well, right? When someone is making like $15 or $20 million a year, that 40% is like high single-digit millions. And if you take a look at all the cars I have, which they retain value, it's less than 1 year of that. And I've been doing the accelerated depreciation real estate thing for like, what, going on 4 years now. The amount of money that alone has, quote unquote, made is probably to the tune of like $20 million. Right? So right out the gate, it's just
okay, dude.
And you know,
I think we're done with this, man. This is just like so insane to fucking. I'm just done with this. Yeah, this is just a completely obnoxious, clueless prick who thinks he knows more than he does because he just so happens to be attached to the most successful female streamer that's ever existed. And then he's trying to lecture about what to do and what not to do. And he's making the content shitter in the process. Terrible, awful. And I think that, you know, Amouranth was, in some cases, fairly criticised, but was written off as making up the complaints she had about her husband when I think she did have some legitimate, reasonable complaints to make. So, yeah, I think that that's it. And also, she did get robbed. Yes, I think he does think... I think he's bought into the hype that he's successful when he's only successful because he's attached to someone that is successful. And I'd love to see him try and actually stream and run an entertaining stream. Because, you know, arguing with chatters is fine. It can be entertaining. But when you do it in such like a smug way, like he's doing, it just comes across as like, ugh, you know? But I don't think he will, and I don't think he'd be able to do it if he tried.